Morning. Welcome to Watershed. Why don't you stand up and sing with us this morning, if you're able? Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, you are good. You're good. No, you are good, good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh.
Let the queen of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in my waves. Oh, she is my song. Let the queen of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, she is my song. 'Cause you are good, you're good. You are good, you are good, you're good. Oh, you are good, you're good.
You're never gonna let me down. 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 Watershed. Thank you for singing with us. Thank you for being here this morning. Take a minute to take a breath. Just relax, feel yourself in the space. Take a minute to feel grounded. Whatever you came here with this morning, whether you're rushing out the door, thinking you're going to be late, whether you've been looking forward to this all week, all the crazy chaos of Mother's Day, whatever you're bringing in this morning, welcome. Thank you for being here. You're seen this morning. You are loved. You're welcome in this place. So know that. Keep singing with us here. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. In your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Awesome. Thank you for singing with us. Say hi to somebody next to you. Make somebody feel welcome this morning. Give a hug to a friend. We'll be back.
Well, good morning. Welcome. Good to see you all. Before we kind of continue with our service, we have something that we're really excited to do that we don't get to do every year. So when we have the opportunity to do this thing that you're all about to be a part of with us, we want to take a moment to pause and celebrate it.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Happy Mother's Day, whatever that means to you. I want you to hold the space for that. Today, we are celebrating that we have 2 full-grown adults who are graduating in a couple of weeks. So if you'll give a big round of applause. And Sam and Micah, come on up. So we have 3 seniors graduating this year. We have Elliot Bova, Sam Stevens, and Micah Osman. And all 3 have been like an integral part of this community for years. And David and I have both gotten to be their youth pastor. David, do you want to share about your time?
Yeah, so I remember playing Among Us with Sam over Zoom during the pandemic, kind of how we survived that season. I remember one of my final events as youth pastor before passing the baton. There were some particular heated Super Smash Brothers matches that Micah was involved in. So yeah, stereotypical youth group stuff, but lots of good memories, and it's cool to see them here as fully grown, regular-sized humans that we're going to be sending out into the world.
Yeah, and I've gotten to be a part of their lives for the past 3 years where we've done post-pandemic and been like, what does it look like to travel for the first time with Watershed students? And it's been very fun. So I'm going to ask Sam and Micah to share a couple things with you. They're going to share how long they've been here, who brought them, so who their parents are, so you can also recognize them. And then just a little bit about what they feel like they have invested in this community and or what this community has invested in them. And they are welcome to share what they're doing next if they want to, but there is no pressure because we are taking the pressure off this morning. So here you go, Sam.
I've been here since I was in 4th grade, I think, and my parents brought me Jonathan and Lisa Stevens. I have invested a lot into greenhouse and stuff. I have done a lot of volunteering for the longest time, and I think one of the biggest things that Watershed invested in me was giving me a chance to have a social life during the pandemic.
I have been here for about 4 years, probably more. I don't know. It's a guesstimate. I was brought here by my mother Googling for a new church, and she found one, and it was this place. So Google, quite helpful. She is Tabitha Osman, and all the woos. It's exciting.
She's popular.
She is popular. So what has Watershed invested in me? It has invested, it sounds weird, but like time, giving me a space to like learn new things or learn a different way of interpreting the gospel than before. Because we came here from a different church that just had a few strange views that we were not coping with, or we didn't want to deal with, more accurately. And what I've invested in Watershed is working for our tech team or working on our production over here, also just investing my time of showing up most of the time. And next, I'm going off to college at NCANT for biological engineering.
Give them like another really big round of applause. Like graduating, that's a big deal. Yeah. We are so thankful for both of you. The first Sunday I was here, I got to meet them both, and Blair, my predecessor, was like, these are the kids that are going to stick around, and they have. And so we're really thankful for you guys. I'm really excited for the next steps. You're always welcome here, but also like go fly and be free. So, yes, thank you.
All right, a couple more things that we want to draw your attention to this morning. First, if you are new or new-ish with us, we have a number of ways that you can get plugged in. The first is by scanning that QR code, which will take you to a landing page that has pretty much everything going on in our community on it. Near the top of that page will be a button that says Connection Card. You can fill that out. Let us know that you were here. Ask any questions that you might have. If you're wanting to get plugged into something in particular, an affinity group or volunteer in some way, all of that can be found on the other side of this QR code on that landing page. One of the things that's coming up that you'll also find on that landing page is something that we're calling Before Sundays. It's a book club, small group type experience starting on July 5th at 8:55 a.m. So maybe a little early for some of you, but I believe in you. They're going to be going through the book Hell Bent by our friend Brian Recker. If you're not familiar with Brian, you can check him out on social media. He's been here before, kind of to celebrate the release of this book. And so I know a number of folks have already read it, but if you want to read it again, or if you want to dive into it for the first time with a group, you can sign up for this. Other than finding the book, it's totally free, no charge or anything like that. And I want to offer y'all a bit of an incentive. If we can get at least 15 people to sign up for this group, I commit to getting Brian to come back here this summer. All right, deal? And then you can meet him and celebrate that you read his book and stuff like that, and everyone will be best friends. It'll be super cool. So just know that that carrot is dangling before you, and you can go ahead and sign up. Last couple of things. We talk about this every week, but the work that Watershed does, both on Sundays, throughout the week, throughout the year, locally and abroad, none of this would be possible just without the material, the financial commitment of many of you. And so we always want to express gratitude and thank you for those of you who support the work in this way. And sometimes we want to pause and just kind of name the sensitivity around this. Many folks are showing up with a sense of baggage, perhaps even trauma as it relates to churches and finances and things like that. So hear from us very clearly a couple things. One, we see that. We feel that. There's a tension that we feel when we're having to talk about the financial aspect of sustaining an organization like this. So if you hear nothing financial related this morning, know that if you're not in position to support Watershed in this way, God's not mad at you, and neither are we. So know that. But at the same time, if you are someone who is in position to give generously, please do so, even if it's not here. And here's what I mean by this. There are so many things that we don't really have a choice that our money is like tied up in that are really bad. And I'm not here to shame or guilt you. I'm just as complicit in all of those things. It's kind of just the way that our economy has been built to function. We're just caught up in a lot of things, and I wish we weren't. But if you have the opportunity to contribute financially to something that helps reduce the cynicism in the world, that helps sort of build the hope in the world, whether it's Watershed, and I would love for it to be Watershed, but whether it's Watershed or not, please do that. The less cynicism and more hope that we can have, the better. And unfortunately, a lot of these bad things in the world have a lot of money, and a lot of these hope-filled things in the world have less money. And so anything that we can do to sort of like even those scales, I'm a fan of. So just wanted to name that. And then last bit of piece of information that I want to give you this morning, and last bit of peace that I want to give you this morning, would be we are kicking off a brand new series next week. It is called Thy Kingdom Come. That is not a typo. We're not calling it Thy Kingdom Come. It's Thy Kingdom Come. And this is going to be an exploration of our value of finding kinship here at Watershed. Obviously, more will be said about that in the coming weeks, but one of the most common stories we hear at Watershed is that folks find a kind of chosen family here. And we're going to be exploring that idea and unpacking it in different ways. You're going to hear from a plethora of different speakers from within this community during this series. And we think it's just going to have a little bit of that hope that I was talking about before. So I would invite you back next week as we kick that off. But otherwise, thank you for being here this morning. I know that this can be a complicated day for many. And so please sit back, enjoy the rest of our service, and listen to this reflection.
The Wide Spectrum of Mothering by Amy Young. To those who gave birth this year to their first child, we celebrate with you. To those who lost a child this year, we mourn with you. To those who are in the trenches with little ones every day and wear the badge of food stains, we appreciate you. To those who experience loss through miscarriage, failed adoptions, or running away, we mourn with you. To those who walk the hard path of infertility, fraught with pokes, prods, tears, and disappointments, we walk with you. Forgive us when we say foolish things. We don't mean to make this harder than it is. To those who have mothered through fostering, mentoring, and in spiritual spaces, we need you. To those who have warm and close relationships with your children, we celebrate with you. To those who have disappointment, heartache, and distance with your children, we sit with you. To those who lost their mothers this year, we grieve with you. To those who experienced abuse at the hands of your own mother, we acknowledge your experience. To those who lived through driving tests, medical tests, and overall testing of motherhood, we are better for having you in our midst. To those who have aborted children, we remember them and you on this day. To those who are single and long to be married and mothering your own children, we mourn that life has not turned out the way you longed for it to be. To those who step parent, we walk with you on these complex paths. To those who envisioned lavishing love on grandchildren, yet that dream is not to be, we grieve with you. To those who will have emptier nests in the upcoming year, we grieve and rejoice with you. To those who placed children up for adoption, we commend you for your selflessness and remember how you hold that child in your heart. And to those who are pregnant with new life, both expected and surprising, we anticipate with you. This Mother's Day, we walk with you. Mothering is not for the faint of heart, and we have real warriors in our midst. We remember you.
Take a minute to sit with that. We've been talking in this series a lot about new beginnings, about things new coming from old, changes. Mother's Day is an amazing reminder of one of the biggest, most powerful changes all of us have been through on one end of it. and that some of us have experienced on the other side of as well. We look at our seniors getting ready to graduate, leaving another space behind, entering into a whole new unknown world. This tie with change and spring and mothering, birth, new things. There's this call to set down something that's comfortable that we know in a space that we're comfortable in, and to move forward into something unknown and something new. And that's where the new beginnings can start, and something wonderful can come from that. So we're going to change the tone a little bit. But this next song speaks to that transition, that it says every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So you might know this one. Sing along if you do.
The doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time, one last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey and beer. Closing time, go home, but you can't stay here. And I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time, this room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come. So gather up your jackets, move it to the exits. Hope you have found a friend. Closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Yeah. I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. Take me home. Time for you to go out to the places you will be from. I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. I know I want to take me home. Take me home. And I know take me home. I know
always feel like I should jitterbug on the stage after that. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. Hi, good morning. My name is Matt, and I'm the lead pastor here at Watershed. And this is the last weekend of a series that we've entitled Joy to the End of the World. A bit of a play on words there. And I thought it might be helpful for those of you who are joining us for the first time this morning to kind of recap where we've been or kind of what we're leaning into within this series and how we're wrapping it up. Both within the Jewish and the Christian scriptures, there are books known as apocalyptic in nature or in genre. Growing up in evangelical circles in Sunday school, I was taught that at some point the world was going to devolve to a point where it would initiate the return of Jesus, which is always a great lesson if you're a kid in Sunday school. Jesus was going to return and to dispense God's judgment right beforehand, gathering up all of God or all of his followers and whisking them away to some sort of heavenly realm to sort of leave the world to destroy itself. Throughout my lifetime, I'm 60 years old now, throughout my lifetime, I can look back and any time there was like a major world event or something that, some sort of conflict, more specifically happening in the Middle East, you know, like Desert Storm, Y2K, 9/11, Operation Shock and all, the election of Barack Obama the second time, and then more recently, the war that's being waged on Iran, the illegal war by the United States, and then the genocide in Gaza. And there was that one time when Prince decided to rename himself as the artist formerly known as Prince with a symbol, and that like people in my circle lost their minds. It's like, oh my God, he literally is the Antichrist. He even has a symbol. And so please don't worship Prince and the revolution. So you can't make this stuff up. When I first started dating my wife, Donna, she was part of a Southern gospel trio, and I did not like Southern gospel music until I met my wife. And then it was like, I love this. Please go out with me. But we laugh today, but there was this song that she and her trio would sing sometimes, and it's called Jesus is Coming Soon. Maybe you remember this, probably surfaced for you in past therapy sessions. But it says, Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Sinners will meet their doom. Trumpets will sigh. All of the dead shall rise. The righteous will meet in the sky. Going where no one dies, heavenward bound. This is why I was not a part of the Southern Gospel Trio, in case that's not painfully clear. You got to admit it's catchy, isn't it? Sort of like, you know, if Disney had an apocalyptic theme park, this is what you'd hear walking down, you know, international streets of blood, maybe, I don't know. Apocalyptic literature, even though it might carry some sort of like really disturbing imagery, has nothing to do with anything that I just said. It's not some fantastical, mythological Jesus pretending to be Zeus returning, you know, in the clouds to whisk away anyone. It was, however, a first century way of describing the end of something, the end of an era, the turning point in a moment in history. Another way of describing this might be apocalypse is what it feels like, or when it feels like the end of the world or the end of something is actually the beginning of an undoing or reversal in what was mistook for normal. And it kind of tracks, this apocalyptic idea within the scriptures actually tracks in something that Jesus' mother once said in what's considered her prayer or her song, Mary's Magnificat, otherwise known in some circles as Mary's Manifesto, which has more bite to it. Wouldn't you agree? Again, growing up in some of my Baptist circles, it was always referred to the Song of Mary or the Prayer of Mary, which kind of takes the edge off, I think. You know, helps Mary be a little bit more gentle and reverent and soft-spoken, sort of teenage motherly, so to speak, domesticating. Calling it a manifesto kind of changes the energy, gives it more authority, which, if you think about it, may have made it easier for any sort of patriarchal, religious, or non-egalitarian systems to absorb. At any rate, what Mary says, what she sings, is apocalyptic. And I want to kind of point to some things in here and see if you pick up on them. The first few verses of her Magnificat is really just her praying or rejoicing in the God of her understanding. But then around verse, 49 or 50, she begins to say some really amazing things. She says, she's speaking of her, the God that she understands, God has performed mighty deeds with his arm. He has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. He has toppled rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but he has sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel, remembering to be merciful to Abraham and his descendants forever, just as he promised our ancestors. Mary stayed with Elizabeth for about 3 months and then returned home. And so this is, believe it or not, apocalyptic literature. And in apocalyptic literature, one of the questions that's important to ask is what sort of normal is being undone or brought to an end or reversed? And so I want to kind of point to some of the things that are actually happening when Mary gives her dissertation on the way she thinks the world will unfold. She says things like scattering of the proud, and that's a direct end of ego-driven power. The toppling of rulers points to the end of domination systems. Lifting the lowly evokes the end of invisibility for the poor and the marginalized. Filling the hungry is the undoing of scarcity as a destiny. Sending the rich away empty is the end of hoarded excess. This was the world in which Mary lived. This was the world in which she would introduce her son to as he grew up. A world built on hierarchy, extraction, exploitation, fraud, exclusion. And in what is ultimately happening in her manifesto is that she is both calling out the empire of her day, and she's saying, listen, there is a new world that is emerging, whether you realize it or not. There is an undoing, a reordering that's dismantling the systems of domination, suffering, and greed. And she's not, to be clear, she's not promoting a violent overthrow of this world, but it's more like it's more like a transition. It's a death resurrection process, a good contamination, or a virus of sorts, to frame it in the language that Jesus ultimately used in his lifetime, like yeast working through dough, like seeds being scattered on the ground, or salt to provide flavor, or light to shine up a pitch dark room. A good contamination of truth-telling, courage, healing, and love. There's nothing about what she's saying that's soft-shoed, soft-pedaled, or gentle. This is a woman who has her sights set on some really radical stuff. About a month ago, we have a boomerang kid. You know what that is? Like, we thought he was gone, and now he's back. And we love it. We love it. Sullivan, our middle kid. And he's got this thing where he likes to get us hooked on series. And most recently, I don't know how he did this, but he's like, Mom and Dad, you have to watch The Handmaid's Tale. Right? Like, just by your reaction, you're like, oh boy, it's so heavy, isn't it? I've yet to meet anyone who has made it through all 6 seasons. So, show of hands, 6 seasons? Oh man, I want to have coffee with you. Oh wow, yeah. I wasn't expecting that many hands, if you want to know the truth. It's disturbing because it just is, and then it's a little too close. Well, it's a lot too close for home, compared to the day that we're in. But there's this moment, and if you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about, where it's at the end of an episode or the end of a season, and the camera will zoom in on the main character, June, who's played by Elizabeth Moss. And because in that world she is supposed to keep her head down, she kind of raises up. It is chilling. And you're like, yes. Yes. It's almost as if she's saying, you have gone too far. You have messed with the wrong person. This ain't over. Indignation, resolve, resistance, fearlessness rolled into this one chilling moment of expression. And I was telling David this past week that, I've been watching this series and I've been thinking a lot about Mary, and it's just, I'm kind of ruined because I don't know that I'll ever unsee June when I think about the resolve of Mary. It's hard to fathom what it must have been like for her. Not just in that moment, but later on in life. You see, the future that she spoke of, this great undoing or reversal, ended up being a future not her own. Like the thing that was unfolding, even for her son, would never come into fruition fully. When the Roman Empire eventually breathed its last breath, neither she or Jesus were there to see it. Eventually, that empire would crumble, as empires do. And they wouldn't see it, but make no mistake, out of the seeds of her motherhood, the seeds planted in the birth, life, death, and resurrection of her son, so caused the empire to go away. This is a photograph of Julia Ward Howe. I say it's a photograph. It's an artistic rendition of a photograph of Julia Ward Howe. Julia was an American poet, author, abolitionist, women's rights advocate, peace activist, and social activist. Julia could multitask for sure. In November 1861, inspired by the viewing of John Brown's body at a Union Army camp just outside of D.C., she wrote the lyrics to the iconic Civil War anthem, Battle Hymn of the Republic, a song she hoped would inspire the cause of the Union Army. In 1870, horrified by the death and destruction she had witnessed in the Civil War and concerned by the Franco-Prussian unfolding war abroad, she issued what's known as the Mother's Day Proclamation, where she urged the creation of an international body of women who were committed to finding ways to avoid war and bloodshed. In her proclamation, she wrote, I earnestly ask for a general Congress of women without limit of nationality be appointed to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions in the great and general interest of peace. And she went on to write, arise then women on this day. Arise all women who have hearts, whether our baptism be in water or of tears. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own, and it says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. It's hard to read that and not become emotional. Howe went on to seek to establish an annual Mother's Day for peace to be celebrated in June, and it found some moderate traction at first, at least for a while. And then if you fast forward to someone by the name of Anna Marie Jarvis, Anna Marie was the daughter of Granville and Anne Reeves Jarvis. This might get a little confusing. Anne is the mom, Anna is the daughter, but Anne was a social activist and Sunday school teacher. They had 13 kids. I'm already mixed up. Anna was number 6, I believe. Number 10, I'm sorry. Only 4 of her children survived to adulthood. It was due to widespread disease and poverty in the Appalachian region of West Virginia, where they lived at that time. In 1858, while pregnant with her 6th child, Anne began organizing Mother's Day work clubs to educate families on proper precautions such as boiling drinking water, sanitization of things to prevent the spread of disease. Then in 1861, at the start of the American Civil War, the state of Virginia officially joined the Confederacy. Trapped between loyalties in her home state, the two armies engaged in the first land battle of the Civil War nearby at a place called Philippi, which was 15 minutes south of their home in Webster, West Virginia. As the war raged on, Anne spent her time and energy organizing and urging members of the Mother's Day work clubs to remain neutral and to care for both Union and Confederate soldiers. Then, in 1868, 3 years after the end of the Civil War, she organized a Mother's Friendship Day to promote the reconciliation between Union and Confederate veterans and their families at that time. And then, at some point, Anne died. She passed. But then, a couple of years later, her daughter, Anna, who had been working alongside her mom for all those years, continued organizing, supporting, campaigning for a holiday that her mom had dreamed to honor mothers for their invaluable role as domestic caregivers and their selfless devotion to their families. Eventually, all of that effort and energy broke through the barrier when President Woodrow Wilson made Mother's Day a national holiday in the United States on May 9th, 1910, only to be preceded 80 days later by World War I. Not exactly what you would find on the back of a Hallmark card. And the point being that synthesizing these two stories alongside of each other, as I've been thinking about the last Sunday of this series, works, I think. In a series entitled Joy to the End of the World on Mother's Day, it just seemed fitting to return to the manifesto of Mary and the origins of how we all came to celebrate today as we do. And I started thinking about this over the last couple of weeks, examining these two stories. And I don't know, a few things surfaced for me. For instance, I started thinking about how love rearranges our life in our world. Dallas Willard, one of my favorite authors for a while now, said, "Love is the willingness to will what's best for the other." And the will to love involves so much work along the lines of putting others before ourselves, staying present, staying open, living with a posture of service and sacrifice of oneself. Love, I don't care what the outcome, love in and of itself is never wasted energy. It calls us to never lose track of our own humanity. It invites us into a wisdom that exists on a spectrum of humanity while not allowing ourselves to lose track of the humanity of others, even when those others seek to destroy us. And I mention this because in the notable character and nature of the women of these stories this morning, it's hard to miss how much love was animating their artistry and their essence in rearranging the world. By the way, I was thinking too, and this is sort of maybe this is a tangent, but we spend a lot of time here insisting and kind of undoing some of the thinking behind our original entrance into the world. For many of us, we were taught that we were born depraved. That narrative doesn't exist here. You are born good. You are born beautiful. You were born as a creative outlet of the divine. That's the beginning narrative here. And I was thinking about how if you were going to say being born is good, then we have to also acknowledge that we were born out of love and born to love. That you can't separate those three ideas. And to become more human, to find our way back home to ourselves, is to find our way back home to love. And then to embody this truth to the world. To love as though a different world is possible today is the tagline of what we feel like we are called to do here at Watershed. And it's to trust in this truth. Is to hope that as we remind each other of this, that love will be born in us and through us. Someone asked me recently, I was at a conference and we were debating on what was the gospel. What was the good news? And I think that's it. That you were born good, that you were born out of love, and you were born to love. And there's all sorts of distinctions beyond that on how we actually behave and live our life, but that should be the good news. If we could just have an experience with this, if we could begin to know and trust this in the deepest places of ourselves, how different would our lives become, and how much more active would we become as participants in changing the world versus being passive. And so, after spending a little bit of time with Mary and June and Julia, Ann and Anna, it got me thinking about love and how love animates change, rearranges our lives and our world. And then this question emerged. As you start to think about love and the idea that it changes, then you have to wonder, what normals will love invite us to let go of? And the undoing of the world and the reversal of unexamined normals. What dispositions, what routines, what habits, what assumptions, what beliefs do we need to evict? Do we need to defect from? In other words, at a micro level, in the name of love, in the name of loving others as you love yourself, in your marriage, in your parenting, in your relationships, your kinships, your kin, in the name of loving your family, what needs to be dealt with, repented from, healed from, talked through, forgiven, and moved away from. And then at a macro scale, what systems are we tempted to preserve because they make us feel safe or stable? This past week, there has been a tsunami of legislation that has been reversed because there is a group of people that are tempted because the thing that they are experiencing makes them feel less stable. And it's a lie. The rolling back of voting rights it's those systems I talked about, reacting to the upheaval of a world that says, this can't keep going on. This can't keep happening. Where is new life already being born among the overlooked? What does it look like to allow love to overwhelm fear, move us to join in the undoing or reversal of what's often mistook for normal? Norms that benefit the wealthy and the powerful at the expense of the poor and the powerless. Love rearranges our life and our world. What normals will love invite us to let go of? And then lastly, something that I see evidenced with all of the women and all the stories that we've looked at this morning, and that's this: love gives itself to a future, not its own. In case you missed it last weekend, it's pretty incredible. It was our first child dedication of 2026, and that's a picture of it. And if you're thinking, that looks a bit chaotic, you would be right. Kelsey and I were talking afterwards, and it's like, oh, wow, 5 families and 6 kids, a little more energy than maybe we were prepared for, but I'll take every bit of it. It was absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. And 18 months ago, Kelsey Smith came on board as our part-time children's pastor, and she did so kind of in a downswing at Watershed. We were in a bit of a downswing in terms of finances, and it just made good sense from a stewardship perspective to keep her at a part-time level and try to figure out what does stability look like moving forward. And so this past Sunday was it was like evidence that was emerging that we can't keep doing things the way we've been doing because there's an energy that's emerging with our families and with our community. I met with about 50 plus parents or volunteers last month rather. And I did so because I was trying to hear from them, like, what's it like for your family here at Watershed? And then what do you dream of for your children? And then it also gave me the opportunity to slide across the table what Watershed's vision is for 2026 and 2027. Kelsey, myself, David, collaborating together over the last 5 or 6 months, have said this is what we think it should look like. And I don't have time to go through all of these, but there's a QR code. Oh, I thought there was a QR code. You can screenshot it. There's a screenshot of this on your phone if you take a picture. But I got really excited because they got really excited about where the future could go. And the problem is that we're operating at about 40%, not just in greenhouse, but for our staff at large. Because we have so many part-time staff right now, David and I are the only full-time staff members. And we have a lot of folks that work full-time. Everybody, for the most part, works full-time. And so the way that we're having to work together as a team is feeling the pressure of growth. This room is bigger than it was last year. We have more kids than we had last year. And not to mention, I went back and forth whether or not to say this, but we have only had one staff meeting in 2026. One. Because we can't find a way with all of this staff, all this part-time energy, aligning people on the same day. The one time that we did was on a Sunday after church. I literally drive to Matthews a couple times a month to sit in front of Kelsey at a coffee shop because it is unacceptable that I spend time with our greenhouse pastor over a Zoom call or a phone call. I mean, we still have to work that way at times. And so you can just imagine, it's actually quite spectacular that for the past 18 months, our kids' space has continued to maintain stability and move the needle in some ways in its expansion with someone who is a full-time mom with 2 kids, married 15 years, has a full-time job that is at a preschool, does everything that needs to happen throughout the course of a day, and then comes home at night and still finds a way on the weekends and in the evenings to push forward in greenhouse. I showed this slide to our parents a few weeks ago. Children's ministry limited to maintenance is destined to drift into stagnation and devolve into more childcare than spiritual formation. And we're not there yet, but we've reached a tipping point. About 30 to 33% of Watershed exists down that hallway. And when you include families and volunteers in that mix, that number rises pretty dramatically. And it's unacceptable for Watershed to see the work of forming the next generation spiritually through the lens of maintenance. That should make all of us bristle. This past January, we made it known that we were about $3,500 behind per month in terms of income to expenses. And to put that into perspective, in October through December, that number was teetering between 7,000 and 8,000. So we've gained a lot of ground. There's a stability that is true right now-ish, in part because there's been a little bit of an uptick in giving, but then also because of the way our leadership has said we have to pull back in programs. We can't hire Kelsey yet. We can't bring more energy to that area until we at least have a sign or a symptom that the arrow is moving in the right direction. And so I don't know how else to say it, but we got to do this. We have to bring her on full time. And I told that to our parents. And I said, if we're going to do this, when I stand up and talk to our community about this, I want them to hear that you have led the charge in moving the needle. And would you join us and me in that? And so if the $5,000 is the need, the gap plus what we need for Kelsey's salary and the uptick in greenhouse expenses, because there's going to be things that we're going to need to pay for moving forward that are for our kids. That $5,000 gap, our parents raised their hand and said, all right, we're going to move that needle to at least $1,700. And there's still families that are trying to help figure this out. But this shouldn't just be about our families. This should be about all of us. The future that is not our own is down that hallway. And they're in a world being asked to grow up in a malformed spiritual reality. They are living in a world that you and I never had to navigate as children. And everything that they're going to experience, if there was a way for us as a community to come alongside of not just our children, but our families, and give them the proper support, give them the proper engagement. We've got more families showing up than we've had in a long time here. And to not make this choice is to start to see things fall through the cracks, which I don't think anyone wants. And so I know last weekend I said, hey, there's this big reveal. And this is it. And the fact that on June 5th, we will have a full-time children's pastor for Watershed is worth calling a big freaking deal. That's enormous. Two more quick things. This has ripple effects. Kelsey she's a multi-talented human being, and so she's really gifted at what she does with children, but she's got other strengths that are also going to help us in some other areas at Watershed in some pretty significant ways. And some of the things that she's going to take on as she merges within this full-time reality will actually be things that will then free up other staff members. Most dramatically, Dominic Johnson. Dominic Johnson is a wildly gifted and talented woman on our staff and on our team. And she's juggling all these balls and spinning all these plates, and she's doing a fantastic job. But making this decision allows her to reorganize her workload really in two major areas: hospitality, which is massive for us, and pastoral care. And she's already doing these things. She's kind of doing them outside of some of her defined roles. And so to have a reality where we can have staff meetings that everyone's there, and to be able to pour the energy that is needed and important to our kids, it's a ripple effect across our community. And so there's a QR code. I would invite you over the next few hours or the next week to consider what you're going to do in this. For some of you, it might be an increase. For some of you, it might be a beginning, and we would welcome it all. And this last thing, last two quick things. When I was a youth pastor for 5.5 years. Did you guys ever do one of those things called trust falls? Yeah, some of you, you cringe, right? Yeah, some of my youth pastor buddies were like, yeah, you should do a trust fall. And okay, great. And I remember trying to do this with our kids, and we're out on this football field, and thank God it was a little spongy, because when I said, well, you catch me first, and they just didn't even try. And I kind of bounced on the turf there. We've moved the needle by $1,700, but the real needle is $5,000, and we're jumping. We're going for this. We can't really afford it today, but we're trusting that when we leap, this community is going to catch us. And so will you not allow us to bounce off the turf in the metaphorical Watershed world? Every now and then, we end the morning with something called the prayer of Oscar Romero. And I'm not going to read the whole prayer, but I thought the last couple of stanzas might be helpful as we move into our remaining time today. This prayer says, we water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, And there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own. God, thank you for this community. Thank you for its wild imagination on how to love and how to be in the world and be a community that loves as though a different world is possible today. Amen.
Pray this with me, Watershed. You give life, you are life.
So God, this morning as we bring our time together for a close, may love rearrange our world. May love rearrange our life, and may we be reminded that this is from which we were born, and this is what we have been born to do. And it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. Amen. Before you leave, and I promise we're not going to stack chairs. This past Friday was Gene Watson's 90th birthday. And I told Gene a few minutes earlier, I gave him a heads up this year. I surprised him last couple of years. And I said, you've heard of a national treasure. You are a watershed treasure. And so you just need to live into that reality. Gene and Pam, I'm never going to get tired of telling this story, but they've been with us almost from day one, 20 plus years. Gene likes to carry the mantle of his label as, or title as Watershed's resident atheist. And I love that. He and I have changed each other so much over the last year, but Gene will say he has changed me. And that's probably true. But Gene, I just wanted to tell you how much we love you. That's a picture of some of the birthday party that took place here this past, I guess it was a week ago yesterday. Gene, we love you, all 90 years of you. Pam, we love you, and we want to sing happy birthday as a way of celebrating you and leaving one another today. And so I think I'm supposed to ask for a G. Is that a G? I wouldn't know a G if it bit me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gene. Happy birthday to you. Give Gene a round of applause. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Have a great Mother's Day, and we'll see you next weekend.